Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite makeup products of all time as of this point in my life. In this video, I'm going to be strictly talking about color cosmetics. I'm going to save fragrance, hair care, body care, and skincare for future videos. So I'm going to start off with the face. I'm not going to include a primer because, to be honest, there is no primer that I truly love or use on a daily basis. But if you want to see a list of primers that I would recommend for each skin type, I am going to link my primers crash course down below. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is foundation, and I have 3 foundations to show you guys. I'm super picky when it comes to foundation because it's really difficult to get foundation to look skin-like on me. Like, it cakes up really quickly, but at the same time I do have a lot of scarring, so I like a fair amount of coverage, and I definitely need something hydrating, but I do get oily when I wear makeup throughout the day. But basically I have 3 favorites to show you guys. The first one is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. I did a review and demo on this, which I will also link down below for you guys. But basically, the only gripe I have with this is that it is a little bit too dark and a little bit too golden on me. So anyway, if it weren't for the color, I would wear this every freaking day. Like, I love this foundation. I love the texture. I love the staying power, and I love the coverage. But my holy grail foundation combination is mixing these two together, which are the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-hour SPF foundation and the NARS Sheer Glow. Now, here's the thing. This, if it's not buffed into the skin properly, can look a little bit cakey or dry. But it does have hyaluronic acid in it. It's a balancing foundation. It's good for combination skin, and I'm a little bit combination. And the wear time on this is great. But the texture of NARS Sheer Glow is absolutely beautiful. The only problem with NARS Sheer Glow is that it just does not last on my face. So when I mix them together, I get my perfect holy grail combination. And I am so difficult with foundation that I really have not found anything that compares to these two put together, except for Milani, honestly, if it weren't for the color. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I really don't have a holy grail concealer that's like my skin tone, but I do really like Mary Kay's old concealer that they got rid of. So that's that, I guess. What I am going to show you guys though is the NYX HD color correcting concealer. Now, I've tried the regular concealers that aren't the color correcting ones, and I don't like them. But as a color corrector, I really enjoy this. So this is the lavender one, and basically I use this to brighten underneath my eyes and my T-zone. Because I'm very fair and very yellow, it's hard to get a concealer that's actually brightening on me that doesn't just turn yellow. So purple is the opposite of yellow, so that really helps to brighten on my skin tone and kind of correct any dullness at the same time. So I really love this stuff for highlighting, especially if I have something that's a little bit too golden, like the Milani foundation. So this pair I really like to use together. But the reason I don't like the HD concealers for my skin tone, like covering blemishes and stuff, is because the coverage isn't that great, but it works really well as a highlighter for that reason as well, because it doesn't get cakey. So yeah, love this stuff. Now for face powders, I did do a crash course on face powders, so I will link that down below if you want to get a better idea of what powder I'd recommend for your skin type. But as for what I use on a semi-daily basis, I actually have 4 powders. This is the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo Foundation Powder in the shade Light 45. I really love this stuff as setting powder. I know my little sister uses this just as foundation by itself. The coverage is pretty good, but it's not so full coverage that it looks like too much on top of liquid foundation. This makes my makeup last all day, adds a little bit of coverage, and just has a beautiful finish. The next one is my Body Shop Extra Virgin Minerals powder. On the back it says that this is a loose foundation powder. I don't think this gives any coverage. Honestly, it has very light coverage, but it is marketed as a foundation. I don't know. I use it as a setting powder and finishing powder in one. The finish is beautiful. It has kaolin in it, so it does make my makeup last all day. And it just sets my liquid foundation beautifully. And it literally only has like 3 ingredients in it if you're conscious about that sort of thing. The next powder is the NARS Soft Velvet Loose Powder, and this is in the shade Snow. This is the lightest shade they have in this. This is a loose setting powder with color to it. It's not a translucent powder, but it's not a foundation powder, which is awesome because the lot of brands don't do that. A lot of brands don't come out with a loose setting powder that actually comes in a range of skin tones. And translucent powders are great, but you do need to be careful with them. Not all of them work as setting powders with flash photography, etc., etc. The other reason I love that this powder has color in it is because it's a shade lighter than my skin tone. So what I do with this is I set my T-zone and under my eyes with this. And again, because I'm so fair, it's difficult for highlights to stay looking light on my skin. So this sets my makeup in place, doesn't look cakey, but it also keeps my under eyes and T-zone looking bright throughout the day because it is a shade lighter than my skin tone. So love the texture, love the color, love the wear time. The last powder I'm going to talk about is another NARS powder. This is the NARS Translucent Crystal Light Reflecting Setting Powder. As I mentioned in my crash course, this is not a setting powder, actually. It's a finishing powder. It'll set like a long wearing foundation, or it'll set foundation on dry skin. I just use it to kind of mattify, blur pores and stuff like that. It has a really skin-like finish, but when you put it on, you can tell that something happened because everything kind of looks blurred and airbrushed. This stuff is especially good for HD video, so I'm wearing it today. Now moving on to the cheeks, and I only have one bronzer to show you guys. I actually do not own a contour kit, by the way. I have always relied on face powders and bronzers to get my highlight and contour. I have a bunch of bronzers, and really this is the only one that I end up reaching for. This is the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer. It smells like cocoa powder, which I actually love. I love the quality of this bronzer. It's super blendable. It's perfect for me because I have a yellow undertone, as you guys know, but it's not too warm. Like, it's not orangey. It's the perfect combination of gray and yellow. It's definitely not cool tones. Like, it's not rosy. It's not ashy. It's just the perfect combination of gray and yellow. I love it. So it's really good as a contour on me, or like a subtle bronzer. I am wearing a little bit today underneath my blush. But yeah, you can use this to warm up your face. It's going to give you more of that bronzed goddess look because it leans a little bit more gray, brown, yellow than like a little bit more of that like orangey warm sun-kissed look, if that makes sense. And they do come in two deeper shades, and they get a little bit redder as they get darker, which is nice. And then I have two favorite blushes to share with you guys. The first one is the Too Faced Love Flush blush in Baby Love, and I actually really love the packaging. It's just kind of like a neutrally taupey, pinky, peachy blush. But this one just looks good with everything, especially if you have like a smoky eye or something, like a neutral smoky eye. This just goes really, really well. This is the bronzer, and that's the blush. They actually work really well together as well. Then the last blush, I think, is a French brand. It's called Adriana Carambeau. Sorry, I just like don't speak French. And I got this in Greece. So if you guys are in Europe, I like love this brand of blush, and I love this shade. I know it looks kind of intimidating, especially for somebody who has a warm skin tone, but I actually find blushes with a little bit of purple in them, which is the opposite of yellow, to create a more flushed look, whereas like a peach blush or coral blush can make your skin just look warmer, and I like don't love that look, at least not on me. I don't know, I just really like cool tone blushes. So that's what that one looks like. And then the last face item, this I would classify as skincare or cosmetic. It is the Pixie Glow Mist, and I actually use this as like a prep before I put on my moisturizing oil, like as part of my skincare routine, and I also use it as a finishing spray. So this is hydrating because it has argan oil, but I would say that this works for all skin types, especially acne prone skin, because acne prone skin probably is craving a lot of hydration because you're using a lot of like, you know, benzoyl peroxide, tea tree oil, whatever you use to treat your acne, it is probably drying your skin out. So this actually has tea tree oil in it as well, and a lot of oils in here are really high in linoleic acid, which is really good for acne prone skin, and some oils in here are really high in oleic acid, which is really good for dry skin. I'm pretty sure all of the oils in here are non-comedogenic. I really love this both as skincare and for after my makeup and refreshing my makeup throughout the day. Now, Now for eyebrows, I used to be in love with Anastasia Dip Brow because it gave me a really intense brow and I could draw in individual hairs, which was great. But then I started using Tarte Brow Mousse because the Anastasia one looked a little bit kind of chunky and dry on my face, whereas the Tarte one was more hydrating. But because it was so smooth, the Tarte one, I couldn't really draw in individual hairs. So I was like in this weird liminal space with my brows for a little while. But then I discovered the NYX eyebrow gel, and this is in the shade Black, and I love this stuff. Work one brow at a time because once this stuff sets, it is budge proof and it actually tames your brows into place as well. I thought it was going to be more of like a stain, but it's like this heavy duty, really pigmented product that actually has a lot of hold to it, and before it sets, it's very blendable, but the formula is thin enough that you can draw in individual hairs. So I get the best of both worlds with this. I can get what I loved about Dip Brow and what I loved about the Tarte Brow Mousse from this product, and this product is so affordable, which makes it all the more amazing. Now the next thing is eyeshadows, and eyeshadows are definitely my favorite part of makeup, and my favorite thing to do with eyeshadows is bright colors and really intense smoky eyes and stuff like that. But the thing is, I'm like an all or nothing kind of person, so if I'm gonna do that, I'm also gonna put on false lashes, take the time to blend, and that's really not realistic for every day. So the first thing I'm gonna show you is the makeup palette that I use almost every day of my life, and I think flatters a ton of different skin tones. Not very deep skin tones, but definitely fair to dark, I would say, can use this palette. And it is the Too Faced Natural Matte Palette, and I've probably featured this palette in every single eyeshadow tutorial that I've done. This, like, the formula on these shadows is so freaking blendable and they're pigmented. These little Too Faced palettes are amazing in general because they come with little cards full of little look ideas, which is really nice if you're a beginner. But this palette is good for beginners all the way to professionals because, you know, they're super high quality. They basically blend themselves, and whether you're in a rush in the morning or you're taking your time but need something to look super flawless and blended, this would be a great way to ground your look to use any of these colors. Again, if you are a beginner, it has your day, classic, and fashion row. Basically, these rows of colors will work well together, but I kind of mix and match all throughout the palette too to get my desired look. It's really just like an awesome palette. Anyway, this is definitely my most used, most loved palette. The next eyeshadow palette I have to show you guys is my Sugar Pill Addicted to Pretty 4-color palette. This is the Burning Heart palette, and you get 4 colors in here. They are Love Plus, Flame Point, Butter Cupcake, and Poison Plum. And obviously Poison Plum is very well loved. I've hit pan on it. Purple is one of my favorite colors. If you're a lover of bright eyeshadow, then this is actually kind of a great staple for your collection because these are like your classic rainbow colors. I've used these all together before. I've used them all together plus some other eyeshadows to create a rainbow eye. I've used them one at a time. Obviously I've used Poison Plum all the time. They're super pigmented, super blendable, amazing, amazing quality. And then last but certainly not least are Makeup Geek eyeshadows. These are $6 a piece, which do add up, keep that in mind. I will say there are a couple of duds in the collection based on what I've seen in reviews, and also based on this shade right here, Cherry Cola, which is honestly, like, I was so excited for this color because I love like a nice deep burgundy brownie red. Like, I love those colors, but it's not super blendable. But anyway, Bitten, Cocoa Bear, and Peach Smoothie are obviously my favorite eyeshadows because I've used them the most. But yeah, for the extreme most part, all of these eyeshadows are really pigmented, really blendable, and they're a lot more affordable than like MAC single eyeshadows and stuff like that. I don't have long lashes. I'm not motivated to try new mascaras. I don't try them that often, but I do have a couple of favorites that, you know, do something for my lashes. And there are 3 of them. This one is the Mary Kay Lash Love Mascara. The other one is the newest Tarte Mascara. This is the Tartist Lash Paint, and I just have like a deluxe size sample that I redeemed at Sephora. It's volumizing, but also separating. And then I would say that my favorite of the 3 is the one that I don't have anymore, but it is the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes Mascara. Oh, and then I threw this in here last minute. This is the NYX Dewy Finish setting spray, but I do not use this to set my face because it has a simple alcohol in it. This I actually use to spritz my brush with when I'm trying to pick up a glittery or loose eyeshadow, and I find that it works really well. And then I also have a favorite pair of lashes. These are the Velour Silk lashes in the style Fluff and Cool. This is what they look like. They are kind of round with like a little bit of a wing shape at the end, which really works for me because I love to do cat eye shaped makeup, but my eyes are also super round. I just love how wispy and fluffy these are, but I also really like the shape of them. And okay, everything I've showed you guys so far is cruelty free. I just thought I would point out that this next product I'm about to show you is not cruelty free, but I have honestly yet to find anything that compares, and it is the MAC Paint Pot, and I like mine in the shade Painterly. But it just holds on to the eyeshadow really well and cancels out any veins on my lids really well and looks really smooth on the eye. I just find that other eye primers tend to look like cakey on my lids, and I don't want that. My 3 favorite lipsticks of all time are Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in Outlaw, Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in Lolita, and the Anastasia Liquid Lipstick in Pure Hollywood. This is a blue tone red. It makes your teeth look really white, and it's not patchy, and I can eat a meal with this and like not have it smear anywhere. It's amazing. Lolita, a lot of people complain that this goes on patchy, and they're like, maybe I got a bad one. It does kind of go on a little bit like not the most opaque, but they layer really well, and if you do 2 layers of this, you're golden. It doesn't budge throughout the day. Yeah, you have to reapply after you eat, but every time I put this color on, I'm like, holy crap, this is so flattering. And every client that I've ever put this on, every friend that I've ever put this on, they agree that it's like really freaking flattering. Like it's just like so flattering. Like it's gonna look different on every skin tone, but it's also gonna look good on every skin tone. I just like love Lolita. And then Anastasia Pure Hollywood. I really am a fan of like taupey nude. Peachy nudes just like are not my thing. So I love this. It layers really well with lip gloss, and it goes really well with most looks that I create. The last category is brushes. So I can't find my Beauty Blender sponge at the moment, but that's definitely a favorite of mine. And then these are all of my favorite brushes. This is the NARS Ita brush. I use this with the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil whenever I want like a really sharp contour. If your face is on the rounder side, I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting a brush like this, but I have a really square face, so it works really well. This is the Sephora Pro Featherweight Blending Brush. This is my favorite brush for blush, and I'll use it for a really soft contour as well. This is the Real Techniques Setting Brush. I love this for under the eyes and also for doing some highlight on my cheekbones. This is the Real Techniques Buffing Brush. This is my favorite brush for foundation because you can really buff, but you can also kind of stipple and get more coverage and press the product into the skin. This is the Sephora Pro Airbrush Concealer Brush. It is like so filled with products right now, but normally it's a little more fanned out. This is the Real Techniques Detailer Brush. It's really great for inner corner, applying glitter and stuff like that. This is another Real Techniques brush. It is part of their Bold Metals collection, so it's a little more expensive, but it's the number 203, and this is just like a pinched, more precise blending brush for the crease. This is the Inglot 10S brush. It's really precise, but it's a blending brush, so I really like this for cut creases. And then finally, this is probably my favorite brush of all time. I mean, all these other brushes are necessary, but this is like my most beloved brush. This is the Inglot 6SS, and this is actually one of the first brushes I ever bought when I was getting really serious about makeup 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago. Oh my god, it got really dark, sorry guys. Since then I've tried a lot of other blending brushes and nothing has compared to the Inglot 6SS. So that is everything, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have had success with any of these products. Let me know if any of these products didn't work for you and why. I would love to know. If you think there's anything that I should try that you think is better than one of these products, then please list that down below as well so I can know about it and everybody else can know about it. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye!